Hi, Corey here, financial coach with Financial Journeys. So, when I was 23, I found myself at a car lot. I was in the market for a truck, but I had not truly begun my financial education yet, and I applied for the worst kind of financing you can get. The financing available through the lot. They were offering 14.8% for 5 years. There was one hang up though. A collection was showing outstanding on my credit report. Now, a bad roommate decision was coming back to rear its ugly head. My former roommate's inability to cover his share of the bills was going to keep me from getting the truck that I was so set on. Now that was another bad decision, but we'll talk about that another time. I went to the collection office and found a bill of more than $2,000 in both my name and my former roommate's for his share of the unpaid rent and utilities. Then, without any research or knowledge of my rights, I shelled out $1,000 right then and there. Thankfully, I had the foresight to get the receipt marked paid in full. Now, looking back, I always wonder if I had known then what I know now, how much less could I have paid? Debt collection is something that can happen to anyone. A forgotten bill, a dispute with a creditor, or even a flaky roommate can result in a collection agent calling your number. But there is no reason to take hasty action the way I did. Take a step back, find out all of your options. That's the right move. So when you discover you have a collection against you, what is the first thing that you need to know? It's that debt collectors are usually not the companies that you originally incurred the debt with. They are companies that buy debt at a deep discount in hopes to make a profit by collecting more than they paid for the debt. These debt collectors have a set of rules they must follow when they're trying to contact you about collecting a debt. These rules are set by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And here they are. Rule number 1, debt collectors can only call you between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. in your time zone. This may seem like a rather large window of time, but it's good to know that you can still expect a peaceful night of sleep. Rule number 2, they cannot harass you or use profane language. Harassment includes contacting you repeatedly or calling you at work when you've told them that you're not allowed to receive calls there. Rule number 3, collectors cannot threaten you with any action they do not intend to take. Now, in some states, debt collectors may be able to take legal action and even garnish your wages. But if they can't or have no intention of doing so, they can't threaten you with it. And finally, rule number 4, they must stop contacting you if you request it. You must request this in writing. Then after the request is received, they may only contact you to identify that they will stop contacting you or to tell you that they're taking legal action. Now, this won't make the debt go away, but it may help eliminate some of the stress while you work out a plan. With these rules in place, you have a lot of control over the communication with the collection agency. From the beginning, you should document everything, from the first call to the final agreement. Make sure you keep records of who you talk to and when. Keep copies of everything they send to you, everything you send to them, and get proof that they've received it. Now, you can do this with return receipts through the Postal Service. After debt collectors make that initial contact, they have 5 days to send a debt validation notice to you. This notice must contain the following information: how much you owe, who you owe it to, so the collection agency's name, and the steps you can take if you think the debt is invalid. Once you receive this notice, you have 30 days to request written proof that the debt is valid. Don't skip this request. If you don't make this request, then you give up some of the control you have over this transaction. Once you make the request, the collection agency is not allowed to contact you again until they send it. If you're not sure how to request the information, the Consumer Financial Protection Board has sample letters on its website. I'll put the link in the comments below. Now, if you don't receive the proof documentation, you can request that the collection agency stop contacting you and dispute any entry of this debt on your credit report. Now, if you do receive the proof, then it's time to form a plan of action to negotiate this debt. Now you need to gather some information. First, find out the debt laws in your state. The statutes of limitation vary by state, but are usually in the 3 to 6 year range. This is the total amount of time that the creditor or collection agent has to file a legal suit. Knowing how much time is left, or if the time has lapsed, will help you with leverage in your negotiations with the collector. Once the statute of limitations has lapsed, the collector will not likely be able to file a lawsuit to force you to pay. You will want to be careful once the statute of limitation lapses, because any partial payment may restart this period. The closer you are to the end of the limit, the more likely the collector is to settle the debt. Review your income and expenses. Any extra money can be used to settle these debts. Don't offer more than you can afford. Paying off this debt just to build up others will not help your financial situation. So figure out whether you will negotiate for a lump sum payment or smaller payments over time. Both of these plans have benefits and drawbacks. With a lump sum payment, you will need to save a large payment, usually in the area of 50% of the total amount owed. You're likely to incur additional interest and penalties for non-payment while you save up. With smaller payments, you're likely to incur fewer penalties, but collectors are not as likely to come down as much on the total owed because you could stop making payments again. Having readied yourself by collecting all of the information, you now know what you can afford. It's time to make an offer. To keep you from getting flustered, prepare a written script so that you can refer to it during the call. Always start with an offer that is less than you can afford. For example, if you can afford to pay 50% of the total, start with an offer of 30%. Then, always expect a counteroffer. The collection agent's whole purpose is to collect as much money as they can. Now, don't be hasty with a counteroffer, even if it's affordable. Your whole purpose is to pay as little as necessary. This will help you pay off other debts, or to help you establish an emergency fund to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Assume that the counteroffer is not the minimum they will accept. Your next step will be to figure out the halfway point between your offer and the counteroffer. This will be your new maximum. Your next offer will be somewhere between your original offer and this new maximum. The negotiation process is a lengthy one, so you will need to be patient. Don't expect to resolve the collection in just one call or with one offer. You will likely go back and forth a few times. When the agent tries to play hardball, don't let them. Ask to speak to a manager or politely end the call and try to reach another agent on a different day. Always remain calm. If you let them get under your skin, then they have the upper hand. Agents will use any information they can, so don't be the one to give them more information. Answer relevant questions and be honest, but do not volunteer any information. And whatever you do, don't allow them to pressure you into agreeing to anything you can't afford. So after several rounds of negotiations, you will come to an agreement. Hopefully, you've gotten more than you've given up in this agreement. So ensure you get the agreement in writing before you make any form of payment, not just an email. Have the collection agent send you a signed document detailing the payment terms, how this will be reported on your credit report, and that these terms will be considered payment in full. Once you've received the terms, make a payment with cash or a money order. Don't give them anything that can be tied back to your accounts. Make sure you get a receipt and that it's marked paid in full. Now you are free from this debt and ready to take the next step on your financial journey. Thank you for watching. If you're looking to improve your financial situation, you can give me a like and a follow, and for more information on how to improve your finances, check out these videos.